starting on the T side of things, so potentially a little more difficult, and GamerLegion are statistically a pretty strong CT-sided team, but they've never quite managed to put the games to bed. So an opportunity nonetheless, and it's going to be full utility for alternate attacks as well. 2 smokes, 2 flashes, 2 HEs, and I suspect a very full-blooded execute.
Yeah, absolutely. And a bit of time to talk things over ahead of the situation. So we'll see how things go down. But yeah, alternate attacks, I think we're a team that were kind of looking solid before the player break, I want to say, and then seem to have taken a good amount of time off and not quite hitting the same kind of standard. We'll see here though. Rusty, oh, this is a great spot, able to find a couple. That's a bit of a blunder for alternate attacks, that with 5 of them around that corner, he's able to just creep in and take 2 of them down. Particularly when you're in a round like this, as you mentioned, heavy execute seems to be the name of the game. And unfortunately, you've lost 2 members now. You're a man down. So really not looking good in that sense. They're going to try and find themselves some more frags, waiting for the aggression to come to them. But Error, I like it, playing it smart, not getting aggressive, not getting greedy, just containing the information. Zero's also around to help out. They seem very prepared for this alternate attacks move.
Yeah, and the problem really is that they've only got 1 player with any armor left now as well, because both of the players who went down had full armor, and as Cressy takes the peak, Era there to try and punish towards Tree, that's going to burn a little more util, and they're really going to have to try and funnel in now. Mezzy, awkward fight, goes down to Stefan, and Adam, he hasn't got any armor, so up close and personal, the Glock will be able to find its 2nd frag, and suddenly, alternate attacks had a chance, but Zero, well, he has ripped that chance away. And 2v1 with 15 seconds left. Scrunk, he's got to recover the bomb. And it looks like he wants to try and dive. He's probably got enough time to get that bomb down on B if he's quick about it. And indeed, that is his plan. 6 seconds left. It's going to be really tight. But I think, yeah, the movement will just about get in that plant. And 2v1, GamerLegion haven't recovered themselves the defuse kit, but they're just going to take this fight straight up. Scrunk desperately playing around the sandbags, but Era will connect for his first frag. And GamerLegion, they will get their first round on the board.
Yeah, certainly hard fought, but just ultimately coming off the back of Rusty's early 2K. Alternate attacks, like I said, kind of dropping the ball early on, allowing him to do that. And to, I suppose, catch them with their pants down, to be honest. And when there's all 5 around the corner, you really have to do something. And then I'm not sure trading the frag and just resting on your heels, you know, sitting at long, not really doing anything is the way to go about it. I feel that they maybe put themselves in that situation because of the buy that they came in with, right? They had to take a slow approach because the execute was what they were trying to go for. But still, it was kind of a tough one for alternate attack. Maybe pulling out a new strat, something they've not done very much. And therefore, your kind of contingency plans are a little less than usual. So we'll see. They do get the bomb plant, right? They do have a workable buy, and we've just seen on the previous game how workable these kinds of buys can be. Not sure whether Overpass is quite the same in the sense that, you know, Mirage does open itself up to a lot of brute forcing, a lot of aggression and individual plays, as we were seeing. I think it can be harder to do that on Overpass, particularly on the T side. Your CTs tend to be a bit more stacked, and therefore trading and crossfires more prevalent and certainly more effective.
Tell you what, though, alternate attacks, they've sat back for the first 50 seconds of this round and really committed no aggression at all. And despite that, GamerLegion have done near enough everything they've got. All the mollies are gone, all the smokes are gone. They've got 3 flashes and a HE left at this point, and if alternate attacks can get into a bomb site, GamerLegion are going to be in a lot of trouble. They've really got no capability to stall anymore. They're just going to have to hit their shots outright. And when you've got Galils and AKs swarming into you, that can be very difficult. The fake from Mirbit will make sure that 2 players stay committed down towards that B bomb site. Era will take the tag early, and that's the signal. Alternate attacks starting to swarm into this bomb site. Rusty, full blind, can only find damage. Mezzy now on that truck, so isolated as Stefan finds his teammate. Nothing he can do. And that lack of utility, just no way to stall the hit. GamerLegion with 8 seconds left will get the bomb down. And Adam and Zero, they've got to be thinking about the save already. There's nothing they can do to get back into that A bomb site.
Yeah, the Overpass classic. Winding the clock down, bursting out. And like you say, particularly against low utility, it's so hard. You just need to find the shots. And with the entire team coming in, the CTs there needed to be the ones to make the move. They needed to be the ones to find the openers and therefore have alternate attacks play around them. But it was the other way, and there's just too many targets. You can only shoot in one direction at a time. So certainly a tough one for GamerLegion. The saving players certainly going to be solid, but minimal loss bonus, of course, right? We talked about this in the previous game, of course. Losing that second round on the CT side after picking up the pistol, therefore you've reset your loss, but right, it's one of probably the worst situation to be in. They've got a force now, then they'll have to eco the next, and then the buy-in to the next after that is not going to be great. If they lose this one, right, that's the big question mark. This is GamerLegion's chance to get a foot back in the door.
The other real problem for GamerLegion is they took no rifles away, so whilst they went down to an MP9 and an M4 saved, alternate attacks managed to keep all 5 of theirs up. They keep that economy building, and T-sided economy is so strong in this current meta. It gives so many opportunities just to string rounds together. Aggression, understandable from the CT side, but it's going to lead them right into Mirbit. He even finds the dink onto Zero. Scrunk there to back him up on that rifle. And that's the M4 down now. Just 2 Deagles and an MP9 remain. Alternate attacks will up the pace because they know the main piece of firepower is gone from this round. It's a nice nade to follow up, but it's not going to do anything of significance because that B-bomb site is gone. And I think Era, Mezzi, and Adam, they've got a decision to make already, right? They've got some armor, they've got some firepower. The likelihood they get into B is essentially 0. So do they just look for the exits? Do they look to save that armor and give themselves a little more firepower into round number 4? Because otherwise, they are looking at just full default pistols, and it does look like that's the call.
Well, alternate attacks, nice and clean in the past couple of rounds. Definitely worrisome on that CT end that it has been somewhat no contest. Very little contest, right? Where the only takeaways they have is, oh, we did HP damage. As we said coming into it, alternate attacks, definitely not their best map, but it is certainly up there. Overpass is a great one for them that I think they're going to be very happy. As we have touched on, I'd say maybe 3rd or 4th best, right? Looking at those raw statistics, but they can often, particularly in your best of 1 scenarios, be a little misleading. I do feel that teams approach these best of 1s very differently to a best of 3, where, you know, you are considering the long game, the long picture, and thinking about your own map pick. I suppose in a best of 3 GamerLegion would have something else coming up. Mirbit, though, reading in very cleanly. Here are going to go down as well. So not looking too good here for GamerLegion. Still got that MP9 in play, but he's away from the action at the moment, is Adam. I don't think going to find the opportunities he's looking for. Slacks making money on the Mac-10. Oh, this is so perfect from alternate attacks. Not getting overwhelmed, not getting caught off by the connector stack, right? Not walking into that lone player in the form of Adam with your back turned. They're very smart, switched on, totally ready. And in a matter of 3 rounds, we've got a couple players getting very close to the max amount of money here. This is really scary stuff for GamerLegion.
Yeah, and alternate attacks haven't lost a single player in 3 rounds. Everybody's on 1 death. Everybody died in the pistol, and there's been nothing since then. So it really has been a dreamy scenario for their T side so far. And as you pointed out, they are so flush for cash at this point. And for GamerLegion, it's a very different picture. Fast play going to come in towards this B-bomb site. Heavy stack available for the CT side, but they're going to need to hit some swift shots because Skrunk's already all the way through. He's got the first and the second on the Mac-10. Stefan's there to back him up. And once again, they haven't lost a single man getting into that B-bomb site. A straight rush with full util. And Mezzi and Era, it's an awkward one, but they've got to call the save again. They didn't have the cash to bring full util into this round. The retake of 5-on-2 is just plain not viable down onto B. And they're going to allow those players who've been sticking it out on the Mac-10s for alternate attacks to upgrade even further. They're now going to have 3 M4s saved up on that T side, which I think really tells you how it's been going in the early rounds. And again, all 5 players are going to stay alive if they don't go hunting. So again, they're going to be knocking on the door of max cash inside of 2 rounds. And the fact that we're saying that on the brink of the 6th round of the first half is just absolutely insane.
Yeah, this is kind kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. And definitely not how we expect things to go, right? The previous game was back and forth on the back of the force buys, winning subsequent round after the pistol and all that kind of stuff, whereas alternate attacks have taken the opportunity of winning said round, and they have sprinted with it. Not even just, you know, they have gone. GamerLegion are left in the dust, to be honest with you. This is dire territory, and it's not just the fact that it's 4-1, it's the fashion in which alternate attacks have been winning these rounds. Weaker weaponry, rushing in, and just playing their core fundamentals so well, right? Grouping up and setting themselves up for trades. Not needed, sure, but even if it's like, okay, those B defenders, Rusty gets one of them, he's immediately traded because they're tightly knit and spaced so very well and all on the same page in terms of that quick pace. So GamerLegion really need to change something up. Don't really think it's going to happen in this round. They have to go for a half buy. Maybe something like a double up setup and finding some early picks could make a difference, but they're expensive and GamerLegion are short of cash. So really strapped for ideas in the early portion of this game.
Certainly in need of something to change. Adam, tight angle, going to be tested early as 3 players just creeping out with no util, looking to catch him off guard, and he's going to go down, gets a little bit of damage onto Scrunk that maybe these pistols can capitalize on. Rusty with a nice dig, but again, the trade is immediate. Mezzy does make that M4 sing for 1, and this time alternate attacks looking a little bit rattled, at least initially. The trades have started to come through, the M4s are in towards heaven to back them up. They've got to be aware of that possibility of a flank. And alternate attacks, they have just lurked. They have waited, and they have bided their time. Still plenty of util as well to make this execute happen. The Hades will fly over the top. Zero, first player to fall. And again, Mezzy so close to finding that frag. But as Cressy deals with him, finally there is some frags for GamerLegion. But as you said, alternate attacks are so well set up to trade. The era, he finds himself 1v3, really stuck in towards heaven. There's damage on a couple of players, and frag one up a little bit more, but he's not going to be able to find anything, and Slacks through the smoke will deal with him. So a 5-1 lead, and again, that cash is still going to be so flush. Slacks is on 16k, so he's going to drop across. He'll pick up an AWP and still stay on 5 digits, so that T side is still looking fantastic, despite GamerLegion finally managing to find a couple of kills.
Yeah, I mean, since they've been on the winning streak, it's the first time that we've seen alternate attacks tested, and they pass, I would say, with flying colours. You know, really good stuff from them. That it's like, as you said, shaky, a little dicey, but they still manage to come out on top cleanly. Bare minimum of 3, still earning money and winning rounds, right? So the closest we've come in a while, and it's still pretty damn good for alternate attacks. Era trying to take an early peek, straight into the crosshair. Scrunk meanwhile in connector. 5-2. My goodness. Really on another level at the moment, alternate attacks. That's just, it's very similar to the way the previous game ended up going. It just felt like individually, and it feels like in this one, individually, alternate attacks are not even just 1 step ahead, maybe even 2 or 3. To be honest with you, while I've been talking, more frags have come in. GamerLegion just really are not putting up a strong enough wall. It is, you know, a paper wall. It feels like the alternate attacks are just able to run through head first.
Exactly. And Rusty, well, he's all the way out A long, so there's nothing he can do. And at this point, honestly, saving that M4 is not such a bad idea, because again, alternate attacks, they've still got 4 players alive. They found themselves 4 opening picks for only 1 in response, and there's nothing you can do at this point if you are a CT player. Maybe hope for an exit frag, grab yourself an AK-47 and get out of there, but it's going to be the round to alternate attacks regardless. They're going to keep on building up that bank, building up that cash, and keep piling the pressure on. And I think it's, as you said, we expect GamerLegion to be these fraggy individuals. They've been a bit of a mixed roster traditionally. They've had a bit of stability behind it now, but you still expect those individuals to just show up, to hit their shots, and to be consistent. And at the moment, alternate attacks, who are traditionally a roster that we look towards to be a bit more team strategy based, a bit less just raw fragging power, are just decimating them across the map.
And we go right back to square one for GamerLegion. Half by territory. Deegs and a scout definitely cannot write them off. I think a failed attempt at the 4-man boost it looked like there, or maybe a bailed attempt at the very least. But regardless, they're really looking good. I don't think they need to be taking too many risks. Just keep it up. And the issue is as well, right? It's a very one-track style of play, pretty aggressive. Every now and then they run the clock down as they are doing into this round. They're not quite sure what kind of a buy they're up against. But they have the luxury of, okay, we lost the rifle round finally, guys. Let's take a pause and let me check the strat book. Let's go for this one and, you know, try and pull it back quickly. So GamerLegion, I feel as soon as they win a round, are immediately going to have to adapt to a new approach from alternate attacks.
And they're going to keep coming up against full buys as well. Scrum almost gets caught on the timing, but Era just not quite able to connect the first shot, will get punished for it. And again, already a man up at this point, alternate attacks. They've spotted Mezzi out on that A bomb site. He's starting to play with fire with his scout peaks. The three-man stack towards B did look like it was going to be tested. Alternate attacks have bailed, and the CT aggression will reveal that, but it will reveal Mezzi completely alone on this A bomb site. And coming up against a full-blooded execute as well. The Pistols really need to be quick on their rotations and very quick on their flanks if they want any chance in this one. 25 seconds left. Nice tag coming in from Mezzi. But he's going to have to give this bomb site up. He's going to give up the plant and hope that maybe the Ds can make something happen on the retake.
Firmly locked out. I mean, they have these flanks coming in from long, right, which I think could certainly be effective. There you go. Zero is indeed able to find the head of one, but I think they are just kind of looking for weapons and exits at this point. Adam not going to be able to make it out with that AK. Maybe Zero could have stuck around to support him, but should put her in this round, really. There's not an awful lot that GamerLegion are able to find, not an awful lot that they can get done. The one frag looks to be all. Cressy is on his way out, and Cressy is not going to face any opposition, really. So, saving what they have into the next round. They're going to be buying anyway. Rusty has the luxury of cheaper head armor, I suppose. I'm trying to find some silver linings here for GamerLegion. But even then, and it does make sense, against the AKs, he's not going to go for it and just make sure to flush out his utility. So, another buy round. See what they can get done. They've got an AWP. I don't know, though. They've had this in the past, right? It's really looking tough. Something's got to change now. This is kind of the point as well, where, like, it can be unrecoverable if it continues for alternate attacks.
Yeah, you're exactly right. There's really nothing more to it. It's starting to get very dire very, very quickly. And alternate attacks, well, you talked about them putting out the strat boot. They went for the quad boost to try and find something. Didn't find the connection they were hoping for. Nobody in towards heaven, and they'll just sit back because, again, they know that this economy, this buy, isn't going to be too pretty for GamerLegion. They're going to be a little slim on nades here and there, so just sitting back initially, hoping to bleed out some of that early util, and then plan your execute into the mid-round, as we do see Stefan starting to push his way around. Slack starting to take that long control away. Two players starting to push their way up Con, and alternate attacks, this is a strat that's worked time and time again. You just sit back, wait for your time, and hope that you can get an opportune peak somewhere that then you can really just fall onto with all of your util. GamerLegion at least not giving them anything to start, though. Top con control will be taken. Pop flash out as they start to push their way up Banana, and maybe again left with the task of just holding them into B. But Era, this aggression is crucial. He needs multiple frags off of this. He's going to spot Slacks out for free, and he misses the shot. That's his position known. He's got to fall back off of that peak, and he's really got nothing for it. Didn't see bomb. Doesn't know which way they're going. Zero's aggression traded 1-for-1. Adam there to back him up, though. And finally, GamerLegion are a man up.
Oh, my goodness. Maybe that missed frag might not come back to bite them. We'll have to see here. Angels go down, so it is a 3-on-3. They've got site control, able to get the bomb in, but Era finding one, retaining the man advantage. Doesn't get traded. So it is getting spicy. Slacks on the AWP, looking nice and clean. Scrunk is low, and so is Rusty. No utility remains for the CT side. They're just going to have to move in, and yes, they have kits, but really going to be tough to try and bait these peaks out. Slacks, meanwhile, is able to get aggressive, find the first one to Rusty. They know vaguely where Mezzi is as well. In on the bomb site, taps it, but Slacks will take him down. A massive 3k to clutch up for alternate attacks. Definitely the closest it's come. But still, it's the 8th in a row for the T side.
And the consequences of economy show so strongly. One smoke towards short, that AWP is off his ankle. They start to maybe get into the bomb site. They can maybe even smoke the bomb and try and just stick the ninja defuse. But with no util, they're forced into taking fights. They take them one at a time against an AWP of Slacks, who he's not going to miss those shots if you present them to him. And again, GamerLegion now 8-1 down, find themselves with, I was going to say a scout and 4 deagles, but the scout's already gone. 4 deagles to try and make something miraculous at this point happen. A heavy stack over towards B, but again, alternate attacks just sitting back, waiting for any aggression, which we see from the scout, punishing that, and then starting to plan their execute. Scrunk a little bit out on a limb, maybe going to be under risk to the deagle of Era, but clearing his angle as well will deal with that, and at this point the numbers just slowly but surely thinning for GamerLegion.
I mean, they've done such a good job in rounds like this. Sometimes it is where you see teams fall flat, right? That are super aggressive, love to take those early fights, and then they come up against the deagles who like to do the same, and they end up letting things slip. But alternate attacks, I think, have done a really good job of still keeping things fairly fast, but maybe down a gear or two, right? Not charging straight in and around like this, particularly when they are the ones to find the early pickups. They'll just chill all together, see if they catch any aggression. Obviously, GamerLegion, I think, don't quite have confidence regardless what kind of weaponry they're on, but all the same, it works very effectively because eventually someone is going to slip up and make a mistake on that CT side. Adam coming in from behind. He is going to be heard here. Shot. That's Messi. Spins around for mid as well. Okay. There's one for the highlight reel. We'll see if they can turn it into anything. The bomb has yet to go down. Zero's with him. AWP now retrieved for Adam. Do they want to go for this or do they want to dip out? It looks like the latter. Unfortunately, Adam wants to get away fast enough. Zero's gotten his hands on it. AWP would have been really, really good to take into the next round.
Felt like they just needed a little bit more there. 2-on-2, I think they go for it. And just with that one extra man, you're aware that no matter how well you trade, you're always going to be struggling to get into that bomb site. And again, little to no util. Zero had to go all the way back to the back of long to get that AK-47 as well. I think if they had 2 rifles, then maybe again they think about it. But Adam on low HP dealt with. The AWP not going to be saved. Another round going to be chalked up for the German side of alternate attacks. And I mean, they're absolutely flush for cash. I can say that since about round 7. It has been just consistently. And for GamerLegion, their buys are just so awkward. They're so half-hearted. They're lacking util. They're not getting everything they want to try and string rounds together. And when a team is schooling you like alternate attacks are at the moment, you need to have everything. You need to have all your util. You need to have your diffuse kits. You need to have as much as you can buy to give you confidence that maybe something can happen. Because at the moment, when they're struggling with util, they're getting punished for it. Their alternate attacks are sitting back, they're waiting, they're buying time. When they're struggling with firepower, they're not winning their fights, right? We've just seen that with the Deagles and the Scouts. So they really need an everything buy to give them something to believe in, and it looks like that is going to be now. They've got 4 rifles, they've got the AWP in the hands of Era, and they've got enough util to justify it. 1 diffuse kit on Adam, but that should be enough if they rotate efficiently. So now, GamerLegion, we really need to see some signs of life, some spark somewhere to give us hope for your CT side, please.
Yeah, indeed. I don't know, they've not been looking amazing, but it is always an interesting one. I think the GamerLegion brand almost for a lot of teams is somewhat of a stopgap. And the messy CT side like this, maybe that kind of vibe comes back in. But a miracle. Zero finds the opener. They've got a clean advantage here on the CT side. So if this is to be the round, it's certainly set up well, I think it is safe to say. Alternate attacks once again under a bit of duress. Have got to try and pull things back. Going to attack the B bomb site by the looks of things. Might rotate up connector, but for now they're definitely shaping up for a B hit with 50 seconds left and plenty of utility. It is certainly doable, but I think they themselves are somewhat unsure of the approach. And whether they, throw some util over and then quickly bail to A remains to be seen. But for now, committing to the B-bomb site. They are indeed 4 players coming up short. They're in a great position to deal with it. 1 for 1 so far. Adam's still alive, however. Gets traded. That opening frag makes all the difference right now on the retake.
3v2 though, still got to get that bomb down as Scrunk does punch in the numbers, and Slack's still alive on that AWP. That could prove crucial. He has been absolutely clinical so far. A boost over the top from GamerLegion to see maybe they can find some info, and Rusty going to start pushing out onto the site. Scrunk has made the rotation. He's out towards short now. It's going to be onto Slacks to hold this down, taking damage from the boost. His position is now known. Beautiful pop flash for Rusty, and it's all on Scrunk in the 1v3, taking the early fight, but Rusty takes him down. And GamerLegion, well, they finally get themselves a round on the board. 0 with the opening pick, the setup, a solid counter, and they do find their second CT round. The problem is, it's not going to get any easier. Those buys are going to keep on coming, and I don't think Alternate Attacks will make the same mistake twice.
Yeah, this is kind of where the real work begins, it feels like, right? GamerLegion, they come away with that clean advantage, make that happen, and then that's kind of just exactly what they need. Oh, there it is. The 4-man boost finally works out for Alternate Attacks. And perhaps worst case scenario for GamerLegion, right? They win their first round. Hopes are looking up. And the big meanie Alternate Attacks is looking to crush said hopes. And now, unfortunately, they find themselves in the opposite scenario of the previous round, losing another player in towards middle. 5-on-3, plus very little control, right? They are scrambling right now. You can see a push coming in from Zero on his own. Adam retrieves the AWP, also on his own. And then, just at the top end of bathrooms, Rusty is by himself. So, really going to be hard. If, you know, the vast majority of the T side comes your way, work is cut out. However, timing could be perfect here. Zero's from behind. They're not quite clocking him. He's spotted out the backside. Adam is holding long, and Rusty is in a decent spot. If he gets a bit of help, he could peek out at the right time and find 1 or 2. Zero from behind gets 2. Rusty peeks out. He gets his 1. Maybe needs 1 more to make this doable. Well-timed smoke keeps them at bay. Adam's in to help out. Oh, GamerLegion, where has it been? Merbit now finds himself in a 1-on-2, and he looks to bail towards B.
So much cleaner from the CT side, and now Adam, smoked off the angle, will have to at least allow that bomb plant to go down. Now GamerLegion don't need to take any risks. Don't give Merbit even half a chance. The timing is going to be very awkward for him. He's not going to be looking towards short, and Rusty will deal with him. So a third round going to be clocked up for the CT side, and that one, it looked so good. They were 5-on-3, don't forget. They were 2 men down, and just everything played into their hands perfectly. A really nice timing on the flank coming through from Rusty, and then his teammates just there to bail him out when he needed it. Third on the board, and honestly, any more from here on in, it's going to be an absolute blessing from GamerLegion. After that absolutely torrid start to their CT side, any rounds, anything they can string together is going to be fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I say, it looks pretty solid. Some nice bits of team play. Good timing, certainly. So there's a little bit of luck on their side, but kind of looking up. Still 12-3 on the cards for Alternate Attacks, right? And the seemingly endless pockets, which I think for the rest of the half, it might just be the loss bonus is going to stack up before they run out of money and getting consistent bomb plants, right? So I do feel like Alternate Attacks are going to have strong buys for the rest of the half, even if GamerLegion keep on winning. So, kind of feels like out of the frying pan and into the fire for the CTs at the moment. Really, really, really difficult stuff. No breathing room is going to come in. No freebies are going to come in. So, we'll have to see. And Alternate Attacks, plenty of room to work with, plenty of time to adapt and change things up. Flash comes in through the low. Get 2 from the side, but definitely leading the charge here. Flashes for him working out. We've got a couple from the bottom side. Era trying to help out as best he can. They don't really line anyone up. The bomb seems to have committed to A, out long, and able to get a plant in as well. GamerLegion really playing it passive to allow for a clean retake here. So Attacks have got a nice bit of control to work with. Double AWPs on the retakes when you're in an even scenario. Really going to be tough to make this work, I feel.
You always get nervous when you see double AWPs retaking, but at least no close angles to deal with. So they'll make their way out of CT relatively freely. Era up to truck. Zero now with a smoke. Can lock out the bomb. Maybe start to make life difficult for alternate attacks. Mirbit will turn his attention to the front and he'll find the first. Era goes down, but look, Messi sticking it inside of the smoke. Has to come off to take the shot out long, but he's now inside of it. He's buying so much time. It's going to be Mirbit with the last second tap through the smoke. That must have been desperately close for Messi as he looked for the ninja. But the T side will reign supreme once again. And again, you look over at that cash for GamerLegion and you start to worry. It's not going to be a pretty buy. In alternate attacks, they're going to look to take every advantage once again.
Certainly looking good for alternate attacks. GamerLegion definitely not completely down and out for the rest of the half, but this is a tough fight to pull things back with. And we've seen how tough things have been with the Cora fight, but a lapse in concentration. Zero is able to push in and find one. Take it with a pinch of salt, but we'll see. More aggression coming in. Adam able to drop Stefan, right? They're liking their staggered aggression here on the CT side, catching two players kind of asleep, you have to admit. Turning away from flashes, sure, but I feel like that first exchange really should not have been as easy. The sensory overload maybe of all the nades coming in, but even then, Zero really creeps in under the radar, so to speak, and now GamerLegion have themselves a decent advantage. No real utility left, a smoke and a couple flashes, no kit, importantly, anywhere. Don't think Zero had one either, so really need to get this cleanly and either A, win the round before the bomb goes down, or pull off a real quick, real effective retake.
Era should be able to make the call here, and Messi on the boost is going to find the first pick to confirm it. B-bomb site dialed in. Scrunk going to catch at least one as Adam looked to deny with the MP9. Still going to be a 3-on-2. Still the man advantage for GamerLegion, and this flank from Era to really pile the pressure onto Slacks. That AWPer stuck in towards short. He's thinking about the possibility, but he's not going to hit his shot. Era to take him out and leave Scrunk in the 1-on-3. Surely they'll clear his angle. He'll get the first, the second through the wood on the spray down. He's looking for Era as well, but the GamerLegion is going to push in. He's going to find the shot, and he's just about going to dial it down. He will find the fourth for GamerLegion. They made it very, very difficult for themselves, but Era hunting down the last man, getting the defuse dialed in as well. We'll have GamerLegion their fourth round, and I don't know about you, Scriv, but if they get a 10-5 half on the CT side, given the start they had, I'm declaring that a roaring success.
Yeah, to be honest with you, like, alternate attacks just, you know, words I can't use on broadcast, to be honest, like in the early in the early portions of the game, really had a tough time on that GamerLegion end. So yeah, I think they too will be happy. Although, as you mentioned, we do expect a little more from them on the CT end of things, so there's still the second half to contend with, but in isolation, a 10-5 would be a decent result. However, the 11-4 still on the card, so it's important here for GamerLegion to not get ahead of themselves and not envision a 10-5 coming in. Oh, we've done the hard work. All right, surely. Right, we can do it. We've proven a close clutch, a couple dominant rounds recently as well. We've proven that we can do it. So they need to be careful not to, I suppose, get a bit too hopeful. Stay grounded at this point.
It's going to be a full B hit again. Alternate attacks very fond of that lower bomb site, and 3 players here for the CT side. The setup really couldn't be much better, and as they go through the smoke, Rusty with a freebie, traded out at least for one by Stefan, and traded for a second as well before the frags start to go the way of the CT side, and with Adam chiming in as well, Messi finding the last player to push out a monster. It's Slacks left in the 1v3, and an awkward angle for that first peek as well. Adam deals with him swiftly, and GamerLegion, well, they do manage to get that 10-5 half. They do give themselves something of a platform, and I mean, the recovery, all credit to them. Mentally, it must have taken a lot to get back here, but you do wonder where that CT side was at the start. It looked pretty decent towards the end. There really wasn't too much to be complaining about, and if they could have brought that out early, this could be a completely different game of CS at the halfway point.
Yeah, very true. Very, very true. Very happy with that. Certainly, though, I'm just kind of thinking, right? Certainly a team, GamerLegion, that like to make things difficult for themselves. They sometimes take a bit of time to get the ball rolling, to fully wake up, right? And then either it comes close or they're able to turn it around. We'll see moving into this T side. Obviously, they've got plans for the pistol, a fair amount of utility brought up here. But alternate attacks, this is really where I expect them to start playing their best Counter-Strike, to be honest. CT side of Overpass. It's in the past been a massive, massive home for them. Certainly some changes since then. But all the same, I think the protocols and the core fundamentals of the CT side are in place. And also an interesting approach to the pistol from them with the 4 players on the B-bomb site.
Slack's not afraid of getting aggressive either, has just started to back out of Banana, so he will get away with it a little bit. I was a little concerned with 3 players coming up Con and 2 starting to push through Fountain that he was going to get overwhelmed by a 5-man stack, but for now at least, I think alternate attacks just falling for the fact that there's been no nades, so they're not going to rotate anybody. They will send Cressy up, and now as the smokes come over the top, the plan will be made clear, and it's going to be Adam to find the first onto Slacks. Just Cressy remaining on this bomb site, stuck towards Truck and swinging wide right into the crosshairs. Mezzy takes him out. 5-on-3, CT side coming up into this A bomb site. You start to wonder what they're going to do in this retake. There's no util at all. They do have a defuse kit, sure, on Scrunk, but T-side already in such great positions and spotting out the first players. They've got players covering the flank. So many headshot angles coming up from CT. Skrunk's going to get his ripped off. Era wanting more blood, even spotting out Stefan for the second. He'll get that. Adam will clean up. And well, we spoke about all 5 players staying alive for alternate attacks. GamerLegion have done the exact same on their T-side pistol.
It's a big statement. It is a very big statement. Okay, interesting. I thought, actually, alternate attacks may well have looked towards Eco. They didn't seem to buy straight away, and may well have been an afterthought from them. We do see a lot of approaches to the economy these days. More so on the T side, I think you can be a bit more flexible with it. The CT side, not so much. Sure, if you eco the second round, you can get the M4s, but that's like it, right? A few smokes, maybe. So it's not really worth your time. Particularly while GamerLegion themselves are also on a vulnerable buy with the Galils and the Mac-10s. The Deagle at the moment, and for quite some time, a very, very prevalent weapon, a very strong weapon in rounds like this. I would certainly say, though, you know, pointing that out, definitely one of the more balanced weapons for sure, because it's pretty much all skill-based, you know? Maybe up close, spamming away with it. You could argue, but when you're landing, sorry, those crazy headies, it's pretty spicy, pretty nice to watch.
You've just angered a very small and very specific subsection of Reddit, saying that the Deagle is a balanced weapon, but
well, maybe like in the circles of competitive play, but it's not a weapon that I can get away with fighting. You know what I mean? Like, maybe on like a 50 in the past, I could just spam away and find a headshot. Cressy, though, is looking pretty good. Still alive here at Optimus. Get his couple. Taken down eventually, but it's still even. Still certainly possible for alternate attacks.
Scrunk needed that. Mirbit able to get one back at least, but he wanted to deny that bomb plant. He desperately tried to rush on out, and now it's left Stefan very isolated. Nothing he can do. Rusty on the Mat-10, running and gunning, will deal with the issue. And the Deagles will not quite come through for the CT side of alternate attacks, despite their balanced state, as you'd like to say. And GamerLegion, they'll look to take full advantage here as well. Mirbit actually going to reinvest into one. Cressy the same, but the buy is going to be pretty much insignificant for the CT side, just to try and get some damage out of this. And try not to die to Era and Adam is really the order of the day. Just don't go wandering into those Mac-10s and feed the economy to GamerLegion so they can start to maybe have dreams of a T-sided start like yours. And, well, Zero is looking pretty swift on his T-side. A lovely headshot to open things up onto Slacks, and they're pretty committed early on down towards this B-bomb site. There are a few upgraded pistols, and Stefan, well, he'll find a quick headshot and a second on that P250 to make it expensive. The 3-on-3, the firepower advantage still there. They'll start to thin the numbers, and Zero is on a tear. 3 to his name with the Galil, and just Scrunk on the flank with the default pistol remaining.
Oh, going to be checked here as well. He's not quite committing to it. Playing patiently. I kind of like this, and they feel like they've checked it. They feel like, there's no flank coming in. We're all good, and he should be able to find that bit of bomb plant range indeed. And there you go. Now the round is costly for GamerLegion, having only survived with 2, and that's kind of the difference that we're seeing. Alternate attacks, a clean tear to build up a solid bank on the T side, but GamerLegion, not so much. Era, and Zero comfortable, but the rest of the team, not as. So, certainly a lot more riding on this one for alternate attacks. They need to find a nice game around themselves, and they could very well, particularly if they can deny a bomb plant away, see themselves stringing a few together, facing off against a interesting half buy in the next. You know, there's potential there. There's really potential for the CT side.
Tell you what, though, after the start alternate attacks had, to be just 2 rounds ahead and coming up against a full buy of a T side is got to be a little heart-wrenching, to say the least. And GamerLegion really borrowing a strat out of the alternate attacks playbook early on, playing slowly, passively. Rusty, sure, posted up in Phoenix, but it's taken them 45 seconds to get to that point, and only just now starting to take control of Party, and making sure the front of connector is clear. Nice little nade over the top. Doesn't quite connect onto Slacks, but it's going to force the AWPer back. Gives him an idea that his position is known. And 50 seconds left. Alternate attacks have done a decent job of holding on to their util. Still 2 Molotovs available. GamerLegion's starting to run that clock down a little thin.
Yeah, maybe just a bit. A lot of offensive utility still remains. Mainly on the B side of things, though. 2 Molotovs. Oh, and it is going to be a B hit coming in. That's his blind. Can't get it down. He gets taken out. Zero finding the first 2. Clean entries here coming in. Looking for more, and he will find it. Beautiful round once again from Zero. And that'll be that. A 5-on-2. Cressy, okay, sticking around. I figured he would have looked to save. Slacks is certainly doing so, but it's going to be a little difficult for him, I think. They are hot on his heels here. And he is trapped. They've got plenty of time to work with, plenty of bodies. And there you are. Adam with the side swipe will take him down. A clean first rifle round from GamerLegion. This is big. Alternate attacks. Not an awful lot of cash to do an awful lot of anything. Maybe a half buy. If that. Okay, yeah. They are going to go for it. Slacks, I would imagine, going to hold on and make sure he can get an AWP, but we'll see. Deagles in play, of course, can never write them off. But GamerLegion really, really, really looking good straight out of the gate on this TN.
10-5 half has given them a platform, and they have gratefully taken it and used it brilliantly to really string these early rounds together. Especially getting that first rifle buy out of the way without too many issues is always going to be a big confidence booster for a side that really had such a rough start. You can't emphasize it enough. Mirbit, though, will draw first blood. Traded 1-for-1 by Rusty. Deagles can do their damage. Mirbit has managed to recover himself an AK-47, but Mezzy seems aware of this close play and will deal with the issue, so damage is coming through. Cressy somehow has snuck his way up com to find another refrag, and that's a second rifle recovered, so life could start to get a little difficult. GamerLegion don't get that bomb down fairly swiftly, and you can see they know it as well. Mirbit's rotated up to this A bomb site, but they are going very swiftly. If he can find 1 or 2 into those crosshairs, this is going to be huge. He finds the first. He calls that they're almost certainly hitting this A bomb site, buys what time he can, gets a lot of damage off, and Stefan with his Deagle will take out Era. GamerLegion, this was a round that they had to dial in, and now it's left on to Rusty to try and find the 1v2. The flank coming in from long as well. Rusty low on HP. There's nothing he can do. And alternate attacks, they've stolen one away with the Deagles.
And there it is. And there it is, right? The one mistake that you make comes in a very simple round. Getting a bit ahead of themselves. Envisioning the even scoreline that at one point really did not look doable at all. So credit to GamerLegion for indeed turning things completely upside down. But that was the round that we expected, and then this one would be the competition. This one would be the true moment. Can they take the lead? can they gain control of the game? But alternate attacks say no. And now GamerLegion giving themselves more work to do. We've seen them find success in the rifle rounds, but some nice steals from alternate attacks, of course. Some upgraded, some free weaponry, I suppose. Particularly the AWP coming into play. So, alternate attacks pretty happy with this one, right? And I think their confidence, as you mentioned, very, very important in this game, will be quite high. A round like that, pulling it on the board, you get a lot of nices in the team speak, and then you perhaps come into the next round not thinking so deeply about your economy, about the future, because you now have held on to your lead and you've gotten yourselves a nice comfortable buy.
You can see that confidence in Slacks as well, sticking around towards the front of the default boxes, flashed in by his teammate, wanting to find that opening pick, wanting to be the player to make a difference, where previously he was falling back deep into the site, almost all the way to the bank, before anything had really happened. Unfortunately for him, GamerLegion, with 30 seconds left on the clock, don't seem particularly interested. They've had a lot of success over on this B-bomb site, and they want to try and replicate it again. 4 players out of con, now looking to split monster. 3 CTs here to try and form the defense. Nice pop flash to buy time, and Stefan still alive on these barrels. No Molotov coming through to clear him out yet, and that's going to give him yet more time. Rusty looks to go for the execution, but Skrunk's there to back his teammate up. Molotov finally coming in, but it's too little too late. And Era is on short with 3 seconds left. He'll find one consolation frag, sure, but when you run the clock that low, there are no second chances, and alternate attacks just 4 rounds away now.
That's the thing as well, right? With winding the clock down, you need to have everything set out and be sure of what you're going to do rather than just winding the clock down and then bursting in. That's kind of what we see from GamerLegion with Rusty getting forwards. The Molotov, like, is right behind his head, so maybe he just waits a second, right, before he goes for the peak. Doesn't get taken down so easily. Definitely some questionable things there. And more work to be done for GamerLegion, I think, at least on Overpass. Because it just wasn't as coordinated as it should be. I think that's kind of the issue. Yes, you can wind the clock down, and yes, you can try and catch them off guard. But with very little information and the setup that alternate attacks had, you need to be clinical. You know, you need to be so tight-knit, so sure of the game plan. And I just don't quite think GamerLegion were. Pause comes in, though. AWP, obviously, in play, really screws over Era's personal economy. Meanwhile, the rest of the team going to be ecoing, apart from Zero, who had a bit more than everyone else. So he's still down to a position where he can buy, but he has the luxury of being able to take... Oh, Khalil. I thought Era was going to fall, but no. Able to quickly compute and readjust. Takes down Stefan at long range, biting off a bit more than he can chew. So GamerLegion, opening pick goes their way.
Well, there's something I haven't seen before. A nice off angle, but can't quite get the punishment it deserves. And Zero finding a second frag in quick succession. This round's starting to look a little awkward. Skrunk able to at least wrestle one back, but got to fall off that angle. Can't afford to be losing any more numbers before the site commitment has even come in, because already alternate attacks starting to look like they're stretched a little bit thin. Nice nade comes through just to chip away at Zero a little further, but there's a recovered M4. There's now 3 rifles on the server for GamerLegion and a huge opportunity, already a man up, to convert this round. 2 players still lurking down on B for the CT side, though, and that does look like where GamerLegion will look to turn their attention with, again, limited time left on the clock. Gonna have to be clinical once more. Skrunk on the angle on bomb site. Teammate Cressy in towards CT just to try and hold on as long as they can. Slack's a long way away over towards Bank, so it's going to be down to these 2 rifles. Skrunk spotting plenty of presence, flashed back into the angle, will find himself the frag. Cressy now starts to push in on his own aggressions. They know this has to be the B-bomb site with how little time remains, but Slacks, oh, that's a shot to take out Era. That buys them the time they need, and Zero, he can only find 1. Last man alive is Mezzy with just a B250. He's stuck into water. He'll actually get the backstab onto the Orpha, somehow still alive in the one-on-one. And he knows exactly where this last player is. Top of the smoke, though. Cressy will deal with him. And my, oh my, alternate attacks, they made it difficult. They made it awkward for themselves, but they still just about scramble round number 13.
It could cost them going forwards, but certainly keeping that lead that they have and keeping GamerLegion very cleanly at arm's length is indeed important. However, a key pause coming in, and I think it certainly is going to be a bit of a game-changing round. Could be an opportunity for GamerLegion to take one away. Yes, pull it to 10. Yes, right, that's your kind of objective fact. But it would probably throw alternate attacks a little into disarray. They have a slight bit of cash left on some of their richer members, but ultimately it will be costly if everyone goes down here. So, turning point, a key turning point, or it could be. It could just be business as usual if alternate attacks take this, and they may well find the game eventually with this round. Or GamerLegion pick it up, and it is indeed that turning point where, in theory, they start to run it back. Of course, it's never quite that simple when Deagles are in the mix, but trying to apply a little bit of logic to where things have been going. We'll see, though. We will see. The AWP in play, the FAMAS in play, to sacrifice down to all that utility for alternate attacks. GamerLegion, meanwhile, opting not to go for the AWP. I feel like Mezzi could have afforded one here. So, full rifle buy coming in from the T side.
I was going to try and do the math, but it's not worth the effort, is it? GamerLegion. They opt for the rifles. Era has to drop down to the Galil, and alternate attacks, I don't mind them dropping that firepower, dropping Scrunk onto the FAMAS to get the extra util, the extra Molotov to stall things out, because that was the problem consistently for GamerLegion on the CT side, was just they ran out of nades, they ran out of ability to buy time for rotation. So nice to see alternate attacks learning from the mistakes of their opponents, prioritizing those extra nades over a little extra firepower. Interesting to see how it pans out, though, as GamerLegion slowly but surely making their presence known towards the front of bathrooms, and now diving down connector. That B-bomb site really has been their favorite so far. They're looking to hit it again here. Just two players at the moment for the CT side. Mirbit and Stefan, they'll drop their util to buy time for those rotations, but GamerLegion, they're going to go quickly. Flashes out Monster. 3 players through already. Mirbit in the middle of this bomb site. Second player deep into water. He's going to get his head ripped off. Nice trade from Stefan, but we need a lot more than that, and there's just too many members, too much firepower for GamerLegion. The frags come through quick and fast, and Slacks and Cressy left to pick up the pieces. Adam is going to get caught trying to already hunt down the saving AWPer, but it is going to be the save regardless. Slacks and Cressy aware that after that previous round, their economy just isn't there, so they're going to be forced to fall off, and GamerLegion can even commit just a little bit to the hunt. They're not going to want to oversend this. They want to try and keep these 3 AKs up if they can. But Era at least is going to clear his way in towards CT spawn.
Key round, like I spoke about, I think saving is massive here for alternate attacks. I don't think they will buy up into the next round. It would certainly be risky, but at the very least it gives them a fighting chance into this next. But yeah, GamerLegion, solid stuff. I think, unfortunately for alternate attacks, the one time they decide to move away from the 3-man setup on B is, of course, when GamerLegion just charge in, and therefore you're kind of reliant on, like you were alluding to, an individual to step up, an individual to find 2, maybe even 3 to make the round doable. So it was tough. It was certainly tough. GamerLegion getting the better of them, though, not fluffing it up, not letting it escape them. With the way that things have gone, Cressy may be missing an opportunity there, we have to admit. Zero came out of the sewer not looking in his direction, and yet gets away relatively unscathed. Only a few points of damage, the exact same that he was able to transfer onto Cressy, so that's always funny to see. But a B hit coming in again. It is all going to get messy. Stuff from Slacks. They are starting to maybe read into the fact that the B bomb site is a bit more popular for GamerLegion, and you know, interestingly, the AWP presence is enough to scare them away. They might think it is indeed a stack. Scrunk, meanwhile, on this flank, able to find one, drops the bomb, who's so very isolated. Oh, head in hands after that, to be honest. A 5-on-3 and an AK recovered for Scrunk. This is looking good for alternate attacks.
That Molotov as well has bought a lot of time. You can see GamerLegion starting to scramble a little bit now. They've managed to get Rusty up onto the side, but he's going to get a 1-tap from behind, a bullet to the skull to remind him of that flank. And now Zero and Mezzi, they're very quickly in a 2-on-5. There's so much recovered firepower. Cressy is already on the backstab here, and the off angle for Scrunk will get in the first and the second. He doesn't even need the flank to come to fruition. Alternate attacks with very little firepower. That one saved AWP to find the opening. From there, the aggression on the pistols is perfect, and that's going to do so many wonders for their economy. They are going to start to build up a bank they never would have had because they managed to save so many rifles. 3 AKs picked up. So they're not going to have to invest at all. A miracle round from the CT side, and it puts them just 2 away from taking Overpass.
A 4K with a P250. Not all the kills come in with a P250, but off the back of. No armor. Verging on perhaps being a little unacceptable. And I think GamerLegion are going to know that. That's part of the reason why the pause comes in. And they will be kicking themselves. That is another round that you expect them to pick up. Here we go. There should be maybe a challenge, right? There's an AWP in play. It is Slacks. He likes to get a bit aggressive, and he has a big license to play aggressive in a round like that. But all the same, you would still expect maybe it comes close with a clutch. You could give the benefit of the doubt if that was the situation, right? But getting kind of soloed by Scrunk is really, really poor stuff from GamerLegion. And like I say, I'm not being harsh, I don't think. They will know that. And that's obviously something as well that you've got to deal with, unfortunately, moving into the future rounds that may not come. The buy here is really not ideal. Limited utility, limited weaponry for a couple players. So it's a very tough scenario. Alternate attacks, this is now their chance to close the game out.
Huge opportunity to do so as well. The firepower very limited for GamerLegion. A Galil for 0, a Deagle for Mezzi, and Util as well. 1 Molly, 1 HE, all that are left to get them into a B-bomb side that traditionally takes 2 or 3 smokes, a couple of Molotovs, flashes, and everything. The one shining light at the moment is it is just the 2 players down on that B-bomb site, Mirbit and Stefan. Hold off the angles. Molotov goes towards the barrel. Stefan with the first on the spray down. Headshot angle good for 1, and he's got support here as well. Mezzi at least able to recover the Galil, and to get that bomb down, GamerLegion needs something. Mezzi will give it to them. A frag through the top of the smoke onto Scrunk gives them half a chance to dial that bomb in, but Slacks all the while has been pushing up short, and they still don't have that plant. Mirbit with the double spray down. The bomb now dropped in water with 15 seconds left. Cressy gets 1 more, and they needed that plant. If this was a 1v2 after plant, maybe Mezzi can find something. A lovely headshot for the first, but that bomb is still in water. There's no time left. There's nothing he can do, and Cressy knows it. He's going to peek out after time. He'll go down after time, but it's still alternate attacks his round. It's still 15, and now they've got 5 chances to finish it.
Yeah, and the road to recovery here starts with a very, very poor buy. You could argue, I suppose, the first step was in the previous round, but all the same, tough stuff, GamerLegion. That could have been their round had they had a bit more utility, a bit more cash to play with. You know, you had Mezzi putting in one of his individual performances. I feel like you expect 1 or 2 rounds to be like that from him in a game. Honestly, one of the bigger up-and-coming talents, and has been for a little while, but certainly now starting to move into the European scene, similar in the way that Smooya did. And that last round kind of proves it. Those final 2 headshots particularly, although in vain, were very, very clean. But like I say, in vain. And unfortunately, they're now in a difficult situation. More utility this time around, though, and I prefer this kind of an approach. It would have been nice if we saw in the previous round one of the players, instead of going towards as many rifles as possible, we had a player like Adam on a Tech 9 with this is the round they have to do it in, charging in towards the A-bomb site. It is indeed smoked up, mollies everywhere, and they are trying to force their way in. Adam will open up, be traded back. Monster attacks, they're not afraid to try and play for the retake here. However, I don't think they're going to get a chance at it. A 4-on-2 coming in with very little cash available for Mirbit and Stefan. They will immediately move to save. So there you are. GamerLegion staying around for staying alive for another round.
the perk of having 5 bites at it. They can just fall off. They know they don't have to commit every single time, and if it's feeling this improbable, you may as well keep your hands on an AWP and an M4, because that's all they had to get them to 15 the round prior. So happy to resign themselves to the save the CT side. GamerLegion, they hold on a little while longer, and a couple of opportune shots here and there. A lot of damage done to Scrunk through the smoke, but a solid strat, well executed at the end of the day. The CT side forced back into their bomb site. Rotations a little bit slow at times, and they just swarmed the bomb site with Tech 9s, hit all their shots, found the frags they needed to. The gap gets just a little bit smaller to 4. And alternate aTTaX, they have some decisions to make. I expect pretty much a fully co around those two. No, they're forcing. Okay, scrap everything. It's 2 Deagles and an MP9. Not too sure about that one, but fair enough. It'll give them something to work with around that AWP and that M4 save from the previous. And of course, with 1 round loss bonus, cash wouldn't have been too great anyway. So an understandable call, but a difficult one to stick the landing on. That helps. Stefan with the first frag, traded quickly by 0. But that rifle is still potentially recoverable for Scrunk or Meerbit on the Deegs.
Yeah, always one of those kinds of buys where, you know, statistically, logically, it isn't really a good idea. But the odds against them and alternate aTTaX don't really care. And I think maybe that's part of it as well, is, you know, the mind games that come into things is when GamerLegion are a little panicked, a little unsure. Zero's making a move on his own, trying to be proactive. Ooh, spots him out up on the boot. Can't find a single one. That could be the frag that turns the round upside down. Skrunk's now got himself an AK. Lovely stuff. Alternate aTTaX have got themselves a man advantage. Even lovelier stuff. So we'll see. Moving in towards the A-bomb site. They've got to deal with slacks. He finds one. It's certainly flashed off and almost went down to the molly. Forced forwards because of it. And they have brought it back into a 2-on-2. But still, you feel alternate aTTaX have got a good element of control here. The flank coming through from Scrunk. Cressy playing patiently to wait for said flank and not giving them anything at all. A frontal bomb plant here in towards the CT side of things. Scrunk, meanwhile, ooh, spots that player crossing. Cressy now going to be ready for it, but time is ticking. Time is working against them. Era has escaped towards long. Drop. Cressy has to find a trade. He does indeed. Will get his M4. Time is ticking, but then he also has a kit to work with. Hero takes the shot, misses it. Tap coming in. Cressy's going to try and hold this. It will be close, but Hero comes round and will drop him. Awfully close again for GamerLegion, but staying alive.
The force buy nearly finding purchase for alternate aTTaX. Very, very close. Cressy just wanted to try and stick that. I think if he has the smoke, if he has the molly that his teammate had when he went down, then that round is his instead. GamerLegion now will have an opportunity to nail it down to 2. They'll just be against 2 Deagles, 3 default pistols. Really no firepower at all for the CT side on this occasion. GamerLegion, it's just going to be about not making any mistakes, just making sure you stay grouped. Don't let yourselves get isolated and picked off one at a time. No sneaky flanks. Make sure you hold on to this round cleanly, preferably with all 5 kept up as well to give you that economic boost to get you to OT, because their cash isn't great. If these pistols can thin 2 or 3 players, then life could get very difficult, and that's exactly what they're looking for. With short aggression very early on, 3 players pushed up, including one of those Deagles, to take map control away from the T side.
I'm a fan. I am a fan, right? Gain some control. If you can get it for free as well, brilliant. You have a lot of information to work with. One player in the form of Slack playing safe, just spotting out. Utility will start to come over the top, and Cressy has arrived. Stefan's on the way, as is the rest of the cavalry. So no frags as yet, but Skunk melting down. You still hand a heavy advantage here to GamerLegion, just the equipment, really. Zero finds the flank, so no cheeky gotcha frags from Scrunk. Smoke's being refreshed as well, so I feel the round in and of itself, with the bomb going down, no utility, no kits, and no armor, right? It's really, really tough for alternate aTTaX to win this from here on in, but they can still throw themselves at it, try and find a little bit of something. Nice little boost there. Unfortunately, no one around. Smoke will dissipate, and it works out for Era. Lands the flick, Cressy falls, And the round's too far gone at this point. And really good stuff actually from GamerLegion to kind of realize that. Backing away together, making sure that when a peak comes into 2 or 3 players at once. Really good stuff not to drop anyone in this round, because there certainly was potential with alternate attacks, you know, playing stacks and moving around together. You can get caught off guard by the goon squadding, but not going to be the case. And this feels like the round where it ends, right? Even though there's obviously still going to be one more if GamerLegion wins it. It's like if they win this one, I think they take us to overtime. And obviously, if alternate attacks win, it's over. So, kind of the game-winning round here.
Yep, and all credit to GamerLegion to bring it back to this point. This has been one hell of an effort from them on the T side. And alternate attacks, they've really struggled. Their CT half, one that you said we expected them to excel in. We expected this to be done. We were looking to game 3 of the night already. Instead, we're looking down the barrel of a potential OT, and alternate attacks, they really can't buy too heavily into it. There's going to be armor, there will be rifles, potentially limited utility as well, but compared to what GamerLegion are going to bring to the party, it is absolutely nothing. They're almost definitely, in fact, there definitely won't be an AWP. They can't afford it, so no big green for Slacks, and he's done so much work with that. It's going to be down to his teammates to drag him across the line now.
Okay. Scrunk holding on to money. Prefers his Deagle to an MP9, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Kind of a weird one. But maybe I'll eat my words. You know, maybe he will find 2 crazy headshots. Nothing really presenting itself just yet. 1:30 left on the clock. And first fight comes in towards short. Rusty by himself. Don't really want to be the player who goes down without dealing a single point of damage in a 1-on-1. That could make the difference. A 5-on-4 alternate attacks will be, man, counting their lucky stars. Because honestly, Rusty, I feel you have to go in with a buddy there to at the very least get traded. Really has given a chance across now to the German side. With 3 of them stacking on B, the attention from GamerLegion, the bodies for GamerLegion seem to be outside of B. Someone's got to go back and get the bomb. Going to buy even more time for the CT side to work with. So this is really, really looking good for alternate attacks. They are ready and waiting. Man advantage in hand. Stack is ready. Zero's been spotted out and tagged down. Oh, this is about to be a bloodbath. And, well, GamerLegion really need to come out on top of it. Flashes coming in. They will charge forwards. A 4-on-3 directly in on the site, but the rotation's coming through from the A side of things. No kills yet from GamerLegion. Alternate attacks with their man advantage are perfectly happy to let it go to a retake. Scrunk, this was his idea all along, sat inside the smoke, looking to deny the plant away. He will wait patiently. Flash comes in, down goes the bomb, and everybody moves forward off of Skrunk's play. That looks to be that, and it will indeed. Oh my goodness. 16-13